Novak Djokovic is through to yet another Wimbledon semifinal, his 14th, breaking the record previously set by Roger Federer. He reached the semifinal after a tense 4-set win over Italy's Flavio Cobolli. Djokovic went down 1-love after the first set finished 6-7. It felt like it was going to be a long day for the Serb, but in his own fashion he came back. The following 3 sets finished 6-2, 7-5, 6-4. On center court, the 7-time champion showed once again why he's one of the toughest players the sport has ever seen. Cobolli came out swinging, hammering down serves, and matching Djokovic shot for shot at times, and looked quite impressive even in the points that he lost. But Novak dug deep like he always does and suffocated the Italian, but the biggest scare came at match point. With Djokovic ready to finish the game, he produced a strong serve that Cobolli returned. Then Djokovic slipped awkwardly on the grass and went down hard. For a few seconds it was worrying. He almost did a full split, and from his face it was visible he was in pain. He clutched at his leg, stayed on the ground, and all eyes turned to his box where his wife Yelena looked on with concern. Yet in classic Novak fashion, he got up, brushed off the pain, with Cobolli showing great sportsmanship, helping him up and handing him the racket. While Novak was moving a bit slower, he produced 2 great points to finish the job. Even hurting, he closed like a champion. Everything happened so fast. I slipped and felt everything. The muscle that had been bothering me in the 4th set tightened, and on that point, bad luck struck. Still, I managed to endure the next 2 points, which is great. It's not the first or last time I've slipped, but it is this year, which is surprising because I'm a player who likes to slide on grass. In the evening hours, the humidity is higher, it's more slippery, and the chances of something happening are greater. In the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll see how serious all this is, and we'll act accordingly. It was a nasty fall, very awkward. Djokovic admitted, the body's not the same anymore. I'll feel the real impact tomorrow. Hopefully it's not too bad. Now though, the focus shifts to recovery. At 38, every knock matters a little more. It is fair to say the only thing limiting Djokovic is that, injuries. He still has insane hitting precision and strength, combined with a very dominant play style. Yes, he is slower and cannot cover the same ground as before, but to go head to head with players that he is double their age is insanely impressive. He's played more than 1,300 professional matches and gone deep in almost every Grand Slam over the past 2 decades. The travel, the 5-setters, the recovery, it all adds up. Federer started slowing down around this age, Nadal earlier. Djokovic has somehow outrun that curve, but moments like these remind everyone, time eventually catches up, even with him. But it is good to see Djokovic isn't trying to prove he's untouchable anymore. He knows his limits, and that makes him even stronger. By reaching his 52nd Grand Slam semifinal, Novak Djokovic has tied Chris Evert for the most in history, and in doing so, cemented his place as the most statistically dominant player Grand Slam tennis has ever seen. He already holds the records for most titles, most finals, most quarterfinals, and the most match wins in Grand Slam history. Now, with the semifinal milestone added to the list, there's nothing left he hasn't topped at the slams. Across both the men's and women's game in the Open era, no one has done more, lasted longer, or won as often on the sport's biggest stages. At this point in his career, it's more about preservation than domination. The drive is still there, the fire's still burning, but the body isn't quite the same machine it used to be. And that's what makes these moments, these comebacks, these recoveries, these semifinals feel all the more precious. Concerns over his fitness were raised even earlier in the tournament when fans spotted a knee brace during one of his training sessions earlier in the week. It might have been just precaution, but in a tournament like this, where margins are very thin, even the smallest sign of strain feels significant. The concern is also now if this slip may have aggravated an already existing injury. We will have to wait and see how he comes out on Friday, where a massive showdown awaits him. And what a showdown it is, a rematch with world number 1 Jannik Sinner, who beat him in straight sets in their French Open semi-final just weeks ago. Djokovic still remembers that match clearly. I thought I played solid, but he was just better when it mattered most, he said. Now he gets another crack at the young Italian star, and he's fully aware of the task ahead. These guys, Sinner and Alcaraz, they're the leaders now, he said. I couldn't ask for a bigger challenge. This is exactly why I keep pushing, to be in these battles. Djokovic knows Sinner is very resilient and is aware it may be a long match. It could go 5 sets. It's going to take everything I've got, and I want to be ready for that. Sinner himself had quite an injury scare too. After cruising into the quarterfinals, the world number 1 suddenly became the center of speculation. During his match against Grigor Dimitrov, Sinner slipped and called for a medical timeout due to elbow discomfort. At first, it didn't seem like much, even though he played quite poorly, but there were no indications that he had an injury. He eventually went through to the quarterfinals due to an unlucky injury that Dimitrov suffered while leading Sinner 2-0 in sets. But what happened with Sinner after raised concerns? He canceled his scheduled outdoor training session the next day, booked an MRI, and was later seen practicing indoors, away from the cameras, wearing an elbow sleeve. That's not standard pre-quarterfinal behavior for a top seed, unless something's bothering them. For a player like Sinner, whose game depends on timing, rhythm, and explosive forehands, any issue with the elbow is a serious concern. It's one of the most critical joints in tennis, especially when it comes to serving and controlling pace. Even if the pain is minor, the mental hesitation that comes with it can disrupt everything. On Wednesday, he came out on the court to face Shelton with an elbow sleeve, but it seemed like this did not bother him as he wiped the floor with the American, beating him 3-0. But this still points to uncertainty, and now we are in the situation where one of the most anticipated matches in modern tennis is filled with unknowns. How is Sinner's elbow, and did Djokovic suffer any injury? On Friday, it might come down to who manages their pain and their nerves better under pressure. 2 elite players, 2 physical question marks, 1 massive opportunity. Friday is suddenly not just about tennis. It's about endurance, pain tolerance, and mental grit. Knowing he faces Djokovic, Sinner jokingly said, "I feel more confident before matches, but at the same time, I know I have to keep working and keep putting pressure on myself because new players are coming. The new generation is growing, Novak is here, obviously Carlos is." This interesting comment by Sinner maybe perfectly paints the picture of how Djokovic is perceived, as a young talent. In his case, the age is just a number, because he plays like a 20-year-old with the mindset of a legend and a veteran. On Friday, we expect a blockbuster of a match, where 2 players who have been compared in their styles will match. 2 players who like to dominate, to suffocate, to control the game while still hitting hard and are unforgiving of any mistake. All we can hope for now is that both of them are fit and ready to put on a real show in the semifinals of Wimbledon. As we head into the final stretch of Wimbledon 2025, the intensity is only going to rise. With the semifinals just around the corner, fans can expect some blockbuster matchups. Carlos Alcaraz remains one of the key names to watch. His powerful baseline play and ability to adapt on grass have made him a real threat to take the title again. Meanwhile, all eyes will be on Jannik Sinner's physical condition. If he's able to recover fully and make it through his next match, a potential showdown with Alcaraz could still be on the horizon. Novak Djokovic, despite whispers around his fitness, has shown he's never out of contention at SW19. And in the women's draw, a few surprise names have emerged alongside the big favorites, setting up some intriguing clashes. From here on out, every match feels like a final, and anything can happen on grass.